Good morning, dear students of class 11 science. Welcome to environmental science class. We have finished two chapters in EVS, that is modes of existence, chapter number 1, and chapter number 2, ecology. So today we will begin with a new chapter which we have been learning since we were in junior classes, right? So the chapter that we are going to deal today is pollution. So what do you mean by pollution? Because all of us, we are very much aware regarding the pollution that is going around in our environment, right? So what do you mean by pollution? So when we define the term pollution, we can say that pollution is an undesirable changes in quality of soil, right? That's land, air, water, or noise. That means all over we have got an undesirable changes, the changes which we do not want, and those changes will generally in return will harm the health of human being and other living organisms. So we can say that pollution is an undesirable changes in the quality of air, water, soil, or land, and even noise, which will affect the health of the living organisms like human being, animals, and even plants. Okay, so now today we are going to begin with the first type of pollution, that is called air pollution. Clear? Where the air will be polluted, and those polluted air will not be healthy for the survival of living organism. So let us go with the definition of air pollution. Okay, so air pollution, go to the first paragraph. Air pollution can be defined as the existence of toxic compounds. Toxic means harmful, poisonous. Clear? So it can define the existence of toxic compounds in the atmosphere in concentration high enough and long enough to cause harm to the human, animal, and the earth's environment. So we can say that air pollution means the presence of those harmful toxic substances, okay, those harmful chemicals which will remain in the environment for a longer period of time at a higher concentration, which will impact the health of the human being, the animals, and also that of the earth environment. Okay, so those pollutants, pollutants, pollutants means those agents which will pollute the air. Clear? So those agents, those pollutants which will pollute the air, it may be in solid form, it may be in liquid form, or in gaseous form. So the pollutants that will pollute the air can occur in three states: solid, liquid, and gaseous state. Okay, so apart from being responsible for environment related diseases, it can cause phenomena such as acid rain, ozone depletion, and photochemical smoke. That means the air pollution will not only affect the health of the living organisms, it will not only hamper the health of the human being, but those air pollutions are also responsible for bringing the acid rain, are also responsible for the depletion of ozone layer, and are also responsible for the occurrence of photochemical smoke. Clear? So let's go through the causes of air pollution. What are the different factors, or what are the different causes of air pollution? So generally air pollution occurs by both the natural phenomenon, the natural event, and by anthropogenic sources or by man-made sources. Okay, so we have got two causes or two sources of air pollution. One will be natural, which will occur in natural event like forest fire, volcanic eruptions, wind erosions, okay, pollen dispersal, or natural radioactivity. So these are the natural sources or the causes of air pollutions. But in contrast to the natural phenomenon, majority of the pollutants that will cause air pollution is mainly due to the human action, the man-made actions. Okay, so the major part of the pollution is not due to the natural phenomenon, natural event, but mainly due to the man's action. So look at the figure, the sources of emission of air pollution. So industry, you can see nearly 52% of the pollutants are being released into the air from the industry. From transportation, it's around 27%. Commercial and residential heating, 1%. From agricultural field, 10%. From other sources, 2%. Consumer and commercial products, 8%. So overall, when we used to compare the pollutants released into the air, that causes air pollution, generally the pollutants that are emitted, that are released from the anthropogenic sources or from the man-made sources are much more higher. Okay, they are much more higher compared to the natural events. So these are mainly the causes of air pollutions. So let's go through the other important causes of air pollutions. Fossil fuel. So when we used to burn the fossil fuel like coal, petroleum or any other thing, they emit carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide, which causes air pollutions. Vehicle emissions. From the vehicles, there will be emissions, there will be release of carbon dioxide and the oxide of nitrogen, which will add to air pollutions. Chemicals which are used as pesticides to kill the pest in the agricultural field, dust and other particulate matter, and gases from the controlled burn power practices. Okay, they are also responsible to bring the air pollutions. Clear? Then burning of coal in power and industrial plants also releases many gases like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, which will lead to air pollutions. Waste depositions in the landfills also generate methane, and you know that methane is one of the greenhouse gases which causes air pollutions, responsible for the global warming. Okay, military reactions may cause pollutions by their use of nuclear or chemical warfare. Okay, paint, hairspray and aerosols contain ozone depleting organic compounds. Dust can be a major pollutant in places where there is little or no vegetation. Smoke and carbon monoxide may be emitted from wildfire. Methane is given off during the process of digestion in cattle. Radioactive gases are given off during radioactive decay in the earth crust. Volcanic activities produces sulfur, chlorine, ash and other particulate matter. So these are the other factors which will add to the air pollutions. Clear? So when we used to compare the different causes of air pollutions, we can generally say that we have got the man-made sources and the natural sources. So this forest fire, volcanic eruptions, okay, then wind erosions, pollen dispersals, natural radioactivity. These are all the natural phenomena which will release the pollutants into the air, that brings air pollutions. But this burning of fossil fuel, vehicular emissions, okay, use of chemicals, then burning of coal, waste deposition in landfills, paint, hairspray and aerosols using, okay, military actions, dust, all these phenomena are the man-made sources, and generally man-made sources are the one that used to give a major part of the pollutants in the air, which brings air pollutions. Clear? So let's go to the next one, greenhouse gases or the greenhouse effect. Okay, so greenhouse effect, the natural process by which the atmosphere traps some of the sun's energy, having the effect of warming up the earth. So all of you are very much aware regarding the greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect and the global warming, which we are going to discuss now. Clear? So generally what happens is that all of us know that the sun ray, right, the solar energy used to fall on our earth or on our ecosystem, and generally the plant used to trap few of them for the process of photosynthesis. But the plant does not absorb or does not utilize all the solar energy entering the earth's surface, entering our ecosystems. So majority of those solar energy needs to be reflected back to the source from where they are entering the earth. But during this greenhouse effect, what is that we have got few greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, we have got methane gas, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbon, right? They used to trap those outgoing solar energy or solar radiations. Let's listen very carefully. They used to trap those outgoing solar radiations. As a result, those reflected solar energy are not allowed to leave the earth's surface. They are being trapped in our earth's atmosphere by the greenhouse gases, and when they are being trapped by the greenhouse gases, generally the earth's temperature keeps on increasing, and this phenomenon is known as greenhouse effect. And when the earth's temperature keeps on increasing, then it will lead to a phenomenon known as global warming, right? This basic idea all of you know, all of you have known this one, right? So The radiations from the sun with the frequencies of visible light having shorter wavelength pass through the Earth atmosphere and heat up the surface of the Earth. Generally, the solar energy will fall on the surface of the Earth and the Earth atmosphere will keep on increasing. But as I've told you that all the solar energy are not being trapped. Half of them has to be reflected back. So these radiations are reflected back into the atmosphere as infrared radiation. Clear? So those radiations which needs to be reflected back into the atmosphere, okay, from the Earth atmosphere, they are reflected back in the form of infrared radiation, which are lower frequency and longer wavelength. The greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane absorb those infrared radiation and re-radiate back into the surface of the Earth or the lower atmosphere. The effect of the entire process is that the heat is retained by the Earth and there is a resultant rise in the temperature. Generally, this reflected radiation or the solar energy needs to leave the Earth's surface or the Earth's atmosphere. But due to the presence of the greenhouse gases, those reflected radiated radiation, okay, or the solar energy, they are not allowed to leave the Earth atmosphere. Clear? So the greenhouse gases will absorb those infrared radiations, and when those radiations are being re-absorbed or being re-radiated back into the Earth's surface, the temperature of the Earth slowly keeps on increasing. Clear? So let's go through the human sources of greenhouse gases, and generally that phenomenon is called the greenhouse effect also. Now let's go to the human sources of greenhouse gases. So first one is carbon dioxide. Remember the different types of greenhouse gases I am telling you. One is carbon dioxide, two is methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbon, and then ozone. These are the different types of greenhouse gases that will contribute to the greenhouse effect. Okay, so carbon dioxide, the first greenhouse gases, is produced by the burning of fossil fuels like coal, natural gas, okay, or then petroleum oil, etc. So when they are burned, then 80% of carbon dioxide are released from them. Clear? So whenever we used to burn the fossil fuel, 80% of carbon dioxide are being released into the atmosphere. So activities like deforestation, alright, that means cutting down a tree, ranching and agricultural are also responsible for increasing the amount of carbon dioxide present in the air. But most probably burning of fossil fuel will also aid to the contribution of pollutants that will cause air pollution. Number 2, methane, which is very important greenhouse gases which added to the atmosphere due to human activities. It is produced by the rice cultivation, cattle and sheep ranching, and decaying of materials in the land fields. Other sources, it can be due to the human activities including coal mining, oil drilling, and leaking gas pipe. Okay, so human beings are responsible for 145% more of methane than what will be present under natural condition. That means we are contributing highest or the higher percentage of methane gas in the atmosphere, which is mainly important greenhouse gases. Third one is nitrous oxide. Okay, generally it's 15% above the naturally present, and this is because of various industrial and agricultural practices. That means the level of this nitrous oxide is also increasing due to the activity of the human being. CFC, all of you heard this one, CFC, right? Chlorofluorocarbon, which are used as in cooling agent in the refrigerators. But you are very much aware that CFC causes ozone depletion. Now use of CFC has been banned. Okay, we are no longer using CFC as in coolant in refrigerators, but other CFC are not being used. Okay, other fluorofluorocarbons are being used as a substitute for CFC, but the thing is that though it will not deplete the ozone layer, it will not cause damage to the ozone layer, but it's also one of the greenhouse gases. The next one is ozone. It's also an important greenhouse gas, is O3. Remember, ozone means O3. It's also ozone. It's also greenhouse gases. It is produced both naturally and also because of industrial activities. Now, since the gas is unstable and it is short-lived in the atmosphere, the extent of damage it causes has not been certain. So we have just gone through the human sources of greenhouse gases. Now let's talk with the effect of greenhouse gases. What are the different effects of greenhouse gases? Mainly it causes global warming. Why? Because it will not allow the outgoing infrared radiation to leave the Earth's atmosphere. It will trap those infrared radiations. As a result, the temperature of the Earth keeps on increasing and will lead to a phenomenon known as global warming. So greenhouse gases causes global warming. The effects of global warming are many. Number one, temperature of seawater will rise, leading to the thermal expansion of water, causing the sea level to rise. The glaciers will melt and it will lead to the further rise in the water level. The rising sea level causes coastal area flooding and threat to loss of life and property during coastal storms in the low-lying area. Simply, so when the Earth temperature keeps on increasing due to the global warming, the level of water in the oceans, in the sea also increases. Why? Because the glacier will start melting. Whenever the glacier starts melting, the water level will increase, and this rise in the water level will pose a serious threat to the life of human being, not only of human being but that too of many other animals. It brings soil erosions. It will flood to the people living in the coastal areas. Clear? Number two effect. Warmer sea surface temperatures will give rise to stronger tropical storms, causing damage to property and the loss of life. The third, so the second effect of global warming. Next one. Higher land temperature will result in more rainfall throughout the world. However, at the regional level, the rainfall pattern may undergo changes. So due to global warming, the pattern of rainfall will also change. Some places where the only marginal farming was possible might get transformed to breadbasket of the area, whereas in other areas the reverse might happen. The timing of the wet and dry period may change drastically, and the storms could become more powerful and damaging. So we can say that the global warming will bring a change in the climatic pattern of a place. Clear? It will change the rainfall in a particular habitat or in a particular place. Next one. The higher amount of carbon dioxide will mean faster growth of crops, but will be accompanied with equally fast growth of weeds. So third one is that though there will be higher amount of carbon dioxide, and that higher amount of carbon dioxide will increase the growth of the crops, but at the same time there will be increase in the growth of unwanted weed also. So this is the fourth effect of greenhouse gases. Clear? Next one. Next effect. There would be loss of biodiversity, as the plants and animals would find it difficulty to adapt to the changing climatic conditions and will migrate to cooler places. So overall, it will impact the biodiversity, the diversity of species. Okay, so global warming will lead to the loss of biodiversity. Next one, the higher temperature will result in faster evaporation, leading to drought. There would be a rise in food price, which will increase the number of undernourishment around the world. The high temperature will encourage the growth of dysentery germs. Climate-related deaths are likely to double in the next 25 years. So these are the different effects of global warming in our ecosystem, in the life of human being and that of the other animals. Okay, so the greenhouse gases or the effect is increasing at an accelerated rate. It's increasing day by day. Okay, if the vast tundra is melting, is releasing an enormous amount of carbon dioxide and methane. Okay, this is further increasing the greenhouse effect. Also, the rise in the temperature means the sea absorbs less of the carbon dioxide. Okay, and this will further increase the greenhouse effect. So history tells us that Earth's climate remains stable for many thousands of years. Thereafter, radical changes may occur, spelling disasters for the present populations. So though for thousands years it will remain in stable conditions, there will no change, but after that the temperature will keep on changing, and those changing temperature will pose a serious threat to the life of the human being. If you do not take the actions right at the right time, in the right moment, okay, we are not going to make any effort to reduce the climatic changes due to man's activity on the priority, then we may be too late to prevent the impending disasters. Clear? So we must be aware regarding the changes in our climatic conditions, regarding the emissions of harmful greenhouse gases, and we have to take the relative measures to control the emission of those gases. And mainly we the human beings are the one who are contributing mostly to the rise in the temperature of our ecosystem, rise in the phenomenon of global warming or the greenhouse effect. So we must be aware, and we must take an immediate actions to control the emission of those harmful greenhouse gases. So this was for today's class. In the next class we'll begin with the need for pollution control and prevention and control of pollution. Okay, so this much for today. See you in next class with the third chapter, pollution. So thank you.